Welcome to Dream Science. Tonight, if your mind is buzzing, or if you simply seek a peaceful drift to sleep, you've found your quiet corner. Here, we explore the universe's grand puzzles, not with urgency, but with a gentle curiosity. No rush, no noise, just a soft descent into the unknown. Our journey tonight is experiments that should be impossible. Imagine particles that phase through walls, defying all logic. Hear the unexplained, eerie hums from the deepest oceans. Or consider engines that push forward with no fuel, challenging everything we know about physics. These aren't fiction, they are baffling glimpses from our own world. Wherever you are in bed, by evening lights, or just taking a quiet moment, we hope this space brings you peace. If you find solace here, a gentle like or subscribe helps other quiet minds discover us. Now, breathe. Let curiosity guide you. Drift with us into the experiments that should be impossible. You stand at the edge of a precipice, the wind a whisper against your skin, carrying the scent of pine and distant rain. Below, the valley stretches out, a tapestry of greens and browns, dotted with tiny, perfect houses. You feel the solidity of the earth beneath your feet, the steady thump of your heart in your chest, the undeniable sensation of being here. This is your body, your consciousness, your unique vantage point on the universe. You are an island of awareness in a vast, indifferent ocean. Or so you've always believed. But what if that island isn't where you perceive it to be? What if the very core of yourself, the locus of your conscious experience, isn't nestled neatly within the confines of your skull, but is instead something far more ... distributed? We tend to assume our consciousness is a private, internal monologue, a secret garden tended only by us. This intuitive belief, deeply ingrained since childhood, forms the bedrock of our understanding of individuality, of identity. It feels so profoundly right. Now, let's shatter that glass. Imagine, if you will, a thought experiment so audacious, so utterly unsettling, it threatens to unravel your most fundamental assumptions about yourself. Consider the phenomenon of phantom limb sensation, not as a neurological glitch, but as a window into a deeper, stranger reality. You might have heard of it. An amputee feels excruciating pain, or an itch, or even the subtle pressure of a ring in a limb that no longer exists. For decades, we attributed this to errant nerve endings, a misfiring brain, a simple, if tragic, byproduct of physical trauma. But what if it's more? What if the brain, in its infinite complexity, is less a generator of consciousness and more a sophisticated receiver, a tuning fork resonating with something larger, something outside itself? Think of your consciousness not as a light bulb creating illumination from within, but as a radio receiver. The radio itself doesn't create the music. It merely picks up the electromagnetic waves broadcast from a distant station and translates them into an audible form. Your brain, in this analogy, is the radio and the music. That's your consciousness, your sense of self. This isn't just a fanciful analogy. It's a concept that some cutting-edge theories of mind dare to explore, pushing the boundaries of neuroscience and quantum mechanics. What if the signals for your phantom limb, for the very feeling of being you, aren't confined to the neural pathways within your body, but are somehow entangled with information fields or quantum states that extend beyond your physical form? If the amputee can still feel a limb that is physically gone, where exactly is that sensation originating from? Is it truly just a memory in the brain, or is it an echo of a connection to something more pervasive? Something that persists even after the physical connection is severed? The profound implications of this idea ripple outwards, touching every aspect of your perceived reality. If your self isn't strictly contained within your body, then what does that say about free will, about death, about individuality? Are you merely a temporary manifestation of a larger, interconnected consciousness, a transient wave on an oceanic mind? Does it mean that when your physical form ceases, your unique song doesn't simply vanish, but perhaps returns to a broader symphony? You've always identified with your physical presence, your unique fingerprints, the face in the mirror. But what if that's just the antennae, the terrestrial interface for something far more expansive? This unsettling truth, while deeply challenging, also offers a peculiar liberation. If your self is not merely a biological machine, limited by its physical components, then the boundaries you perceive are merely illusions, self-imposed cages of understanding. It suggests a vast, interconnected tapestry of existence, where your individual thread, while unique, is woven into an infinitely larger design. You are not just a separate entity, adrift in the cosmos. You are a permeable membrane, constantly interacting with and perhaps even drawing from a field of information that defines consciousness itself. So, the next time you feel the undeniable presence of your own mind, the private theater of your own thoughts, pause. Consider the possibility that the stage extends far beyond the proscenium arch of your skull. What if the echo you hear, the feeling of you, is not just a monologue, but a chorus, sung across the void? How does this knowing change the way you perceive your boundaries, your potential, your very existence? You glance at your watch, the second hand sweeping relentlessly forward, marking the passage of time. You feel the cool air conditioning on your skin, hear the distant hum of traffic, taste the faint bitterness of your morning coffee. This is now. This immediate, undeniable present moment, where everything unfolds, where you experience life as it happens. You navigate your day, making decisions, reacting to stimuli, always rooted in this unwavering now. We all share this fundamental perception. Time flows like a river, and we are perpetually carried along its current, always arriving at the present, which then instantly becomes the past. But what if that river is an illusion, a magnificent construct of your mind? What if the now you inhabit, the very present moment you cling to, isn't a singular, universal point in time, but a personalized fabrication? This isn't just a philosophical musing. It's a disconcerting implication stemming from a cornerstone of modern physics, Einstein's theory of relativity, specifically the concept of relativity of simultaneity. We've been taught that events happen at the same time for everyone, everywhere, a universal clock ticking away for all. Prepare to have that clock shattered. Imagine two separate events occurring far away from each other, say, two distant stars exploding simultaneously. From your vantage point on Earth, they might appear to explode at the exact same instant. But what if someone else, perhaps an alien observer zipping through space in a spaceship, were to pass between those two exploding stars at an incredibly high speed? For them, due to their motion relative to you, one star would appear to explode before the other. Not just appear to, but genuinely be before the other, according to their frame of reference. There is no objective, universal, simultaneous. This isn't about light travel time or delays in perception. It's a fundamental property of space-time itself. Time isn't a separate, flowing entity. It's interwoven with space, forming a four-dimensional fabric. And just as your perspective on a 3D object changes as you move around it, your perspective on time changes as you move through space. Your now is simply the slice of space-time that intersects with your current state of motion. It's like slicing a loaf of bread. Different people, cutting the same loaf at different angles, will get different slices, different nows, even though they're all part of the same loaf. The profound implications of this ripple through your understanding of existence. If there's no universal now, then what does that mean for cause and effect? For free will? If your present moment is unique to your frame of reference, then in a very real sense, your future already exists for some observers, and your past is still the present for others. Does this mean your entire life, from birth to death, is simply there laid out in the fabric of space-time, and you are merely experiencing it, slice by slice, according to your velocity through the universe? This concept, often called block universe theory, suggests that past, present, and future are equally real, equally existent. This isn't to say your choices don't matter, or that you're merely a puppet on a string. Instead, it reframes your experience of time from a linear progression to a complex, multi-dimensional journey. Your consciousness, the very thing that perceives now, becomes less like a train traveling on a single track and more like a spotlight moving across a vast, already existing landscape. The present is not a moving point, but a constantly shifting focal length of your perception, determined by your unique dance with the universe. So, the next time you feel the relentless march of the seconds, the undeniable push of the now, consider that it's a deeply personal symphony orchestrated by your specific trajectory through space-time. The present you inhabit is a ghost, an echo of a deeper reality where all moments might coexist. How does this perspective alter your relationship with regret, with anticipation, with the very fleeting nature of life itself? You wake up. The sunlight streams through your window, familiar and warm. You stretch, the ache in your muscles a comforting sign of your physical presence. You hear the birds outside, the distant hum of traffic. This is real. This undeniable, tangible world around you, filled with textures, sounds, and the unyielding laws of physics. We collectively agree on its existence, its independent reality, because we can all touch it, measure it, live within it. This shared perception solidifies our belief that we are living in the one true, objective reality. But what if this solidity, this comforting familiarity, is merely a sophisticated illusion? What if the universe you inhabit, the very fabric of your existence, isn't a fundamental, self-generating entity, but rather a meticulously crafted construct? This isn't the stuff of science fiction anymore. It's a concept known as the simulation hypothesis, and it's being seriously debated by physicists, philosophers, and even tech billionaires. The unsettling truth: your reality might be a program, and you, an intricate line of code within it. Imagine a video game, one so incredibly advanced that the characters within it are self-aware, believing their digital world is all there is. They perceive physics, experience emotions, and interact with an environment that feels absolutely real to them. From their perspective, the sky is as blue, the trees as green, and the ground as solid as yours. The game's creators, however, know it's all just data, algorithms, and rendering engines. Now, scale that up infinitely. What if our universe is simply one such simulation, run on a supercomputer by an incredibly advanced civilization? The scientific grounding for this isn't just pure speculation. Consider the bizarre quirks of quantum mechanics, the way particles only seem to decide their properties when observed, or how they can be entangled across vast distances instantaneously, affecting each other. These phenomena, which defy classical intuition, are eerily similar to what you'd expect to see in a simulated environment designed to conserve computational resources. Why render something in full detail if no one's looking at it? Why not allow for instantaneous connections if the underlying code allows for it? Even the discrete, pixel-like nature of fundamental particles, the smallest units of energy and matter, can be interpreted as the granular resolution of a digital simulation. The profound implications twist your sense of self and purpose. If your reality is a simulation, does your free will truly exist? Or are your choices predetermined by an overarching algorithm? Are there patches or updates to reality, explaining inexplicable events or shifts in fundamental constants? Does death simply mean logging out or deleting a character? The very idea challenges our anthropocentric view of existence, suggesting we might not be at the pinnacle of creation, but rather an experiment, a grand projection. Your existential anxieties, your triumphs, your loves, your losses, are they merely intricate subroutines designed to generate data or fulfill a programmed purpose? Yet, this unsettling perspective can also be incredibly liberating. If reality is malleable, a kind of digital dream, then perhaps its rules aren't as immutable as they seem. It opens the door to possibilities beyond our current understanding of physics. It could imply that there are other layers of reality, other simulations running concurrently, or even that we might someday become the simulators, creating universes of our own. It transforms the quest for understanding from merely dissecting the universe's mechanics to potentially discovering its source code. Your life isn't diminished by being a simulation. It becomes an intricate, profound piece of art, a story unfolding within an unimaginable digital tapestry. So, as you go about your day, feeling the sun on your skin, tasting your food, hearing a loved one's voice, take a moment. What if these deeply felt sensations are the perfect output of a masterful program? How would knowing you might be living within a simulation change the way you interact with your world, the importance you place on your experiences, or even your pursuit of knowledge? You wake up, just as you did yesterday, and decide where you choose coffee over tea, take a different route to work, or perhaps decide to finally tackle that daunting task you've been putting off. These are your choices, freely made, undeniably stemming from your own will. The sensation of agency, the belief that you are the author of your own actions, is perhaps one of the most fundamental aspects of human experience. We feel it in every decision, every spontaneous thought, every deliberate movement. This deep-seated conviction forms the basis of our legal systems, our moral judgments, and our entire concept of personal responsibility. But what if that feeling, that undeniable sense of choice, is merely a profound illusion? What if every decision you've ever made, from the mundane to the monumental, was already determined, set in motion by a chain of prior events and conditions entirely beyond your control? This is the unsettling core of determinism, a philosophical and scientific concept that suggests the future is, in principle, as fixed as the past. Your feeling of choosing freely might be nothing more than your consciousness observing a process that has already played out. Imagine a perfectly predictable machine, say a complex clockwork mechanism. If you know the initial position of every gear, every spring, every lever, and you understand the laws of physics governing their interactions, you could, in theory, predict every single movement that clock will ever make far into the future. Now, apply this to the universe. If every atom, every particle, every quantum fluctuation operates according to fixed laws, and if the universe began in a specific state, then every subsequent state, including your thoughts and decisions, could logically be seen as an inevitable consequence of that initial state. Your brain, with all its intricate neural firings and chemical reactions, is, after all, a physical system subject to these same laws. The scientific support for this concept often comes from the elegant predictability of classical physics. Newton's laws, for instance, describe a universe where forces cause precise, predictable accelerations, while quantum mechanics introduces elements of probability at the subatomic level. Some interpretations, like the many worlds interpretation, suggest that even those probabilities unfold into all possible outcomes, each existing in its own branch of reality, still leaving no room for a truly free choice within a single timeline. If every action is the direct result of preceding causes, stretching back to the Big Bang, then where do you insert genuine, uncaused freedom? The profound implications of this concept can be deeply unsettling. If your choices are predetermined, does moral responsibility evaporate? Why praise achievement or condemn wrongdoing if the individual couldn't have acted otherwise? Does try harder or learn from your mistakes become meaningless advice? It challenges the very foundation of personal merit, guilt, and the pursuit of a better future. It implies that your life story isn't being written by you, but is merely being read by you as it unfolds, line by inevitable line. Yet, there's a strange kind of freedom to be found within this deterministic framework. If your choices are predetermined, it paradoxically lessens the burden of immense pressure. The anxiety of making the right choice or fearing regret can diminish when you realize that whatever unfolds, it was, in a cosmic sense, always going to. It can foster a profound sense of acceptance, a release from the endless self-blame or the illusion of perfect control. Your unique sequence of experiences, thoughts, and actions, while predetermined, is still uniquely yours within the grand tapestry of causality. You are not less significant, but rather an integral, beautiful, and inevitable part of the universe's unfolding story. So, the next time you feel the undeniable tug of choice, as you decide what to say or what to do, pause and consider, what if that feeling of choice is the universe's elegant way of allowing you to experience your own unfolding? How does this understanding that your actions are part of an unbroken chain alter your relationship with regret, with aspiration, or with the very concept of what could have been? What could have been? You look up at the night sky, a velvet canvas strewn with countless pinpricks of light. Galaxies stretch across unimaginable distances, nebulae glow with the birth of stars, and the cosmos hums with a silent, majestic energy. It feels vast, complex, undeniably full of things, and instinctively you assume that all of this, the stars, the planets, the very atoms that make you emerged from something equally substantive. We believe that something cannot come from nothing, that for existence to manifest, there must have been a pre-existing state of matter or energy from which it could expand. This intuitive grasp of conservation, that reality needs a foundation, guides our understanding of creation. But what if this deep-seated intuition is fundamentally flawed? What if the universe, in all its incredible abundance and complexity, actually arose from nothing at all? This isn't a theological argument. It's a mind-bending concept rooted in quantum physics and cosmology. The idea that the universe could have spontaneously appeared from a quantum vacuum fluctuation. The unsettling truth is that nothing in the quantum realm is far from empty. Imagine a truly empty space, devoid of all matter, all energy, all radiation. You might picture a perfect, silent void, but in the quantum world, this nothing is a seething, effervescent froth. It's a realm where particles and antiparticles constantly pop into existence, briefly interact, and then annihilate each other, disappearing back into the void. These are called virtual particles, and they exist for such fleeting moments that we can't directly observe them, but their effects are measurable, proving their ephemeral reality. This isn't just theory. Phenomena like the Casimir effect, where two uncharged metal plates, placed incredibly close together, are pushed by the pressure of these virtual particles, provide experimental evidence. Now, scale this up. What if, on an immensely grander scale, a monumental quantum fluctuation occurred, one so vast and so improbable that it didn't just produce a pair of virtual particles, but an entire universe? In this scenario, the universe, complete with all its matter and energy, didn't need anything external to cause it. It could have simply emerged from the inherent instability and potential of the quantum vacuum itself, like a colossal bubble forming in an invisible, boiling broth. The total energy of the universe, including the positive energy of matter and the negative energy of gravity, might even sum to zero, meaning it essentially represents a zero-energy universe that requires no net input to exist. The profound implications of a universe from nothing are staggering. It obliterates the need for a first cause in the traditional sense, pushing the boundaries of what creation even means. It challenges our deep-seated need for an origin point, suggesting that the universe might be its own origin. Does it diminish your sense of purpose if existence is, in some sense, a cosmic accident, a quantum burp, or does it, conversely, make your existence, this fragile, improbable manifestation, all the more miraculous and precious? If the universe emerged from pure potentiality, does that mean infinite possibilities are still inherent in its fabric, waiting to unfurl? This unsettling truth reframes your place in the cosmos. You are not just a product of something, but perhaps a miraculous manifestation from the very essence of nothingness itself. It transforms the vast, empty spaces between stars not into inert voids, but into a dynamic, pregnant possibility. Your very existence, and the existence of everything around you, becomes a testament to the astonishing fertility of the quantum vacuum. So, the next time you gaze upon the night sky, or even just consider the solid ground beneath your feet, contemplate the unsettling and awe-inspiring possibility. What if the universe's ultimate secret isn't what it came from, but that it came from nothing at all? How does this redefine your understanding of creation, of potential, and of your own improbable presence within this astonishing reality? You recall your first kiss, the scent of rain after a summer storm, the exhilarating rush of achieving a long-held dream. These memories feel solid, personal, etched into the very fabric of your mind. You trust them as accurate records of your past, fragments of experience stored away, ready to be retrieved like files from a meticulously organized cabinet. We rely on memory to define who we are, to learn from our mistakes, to build our narratives. This deeply ingrained belief in the fidelity of our personal histories gives us a sense of continuity, a stable anchor in the relentless flow of time. But what if these cherished recollections, these anchors to your past, are not faithful reproductions at all? What if they are, instead, fluid, reconstructive processes, subtly altered and reshaped with each retrieval? This isn't just about forgetting details. It's about the unsettling reality that your memories are not immutable recordings, but dynamic, often unreliable narratives your brain actively constructs in the present moment. The unsettling truth is that every time you access a memory, you don't just recall it, you recreate it, and in that recreation, you inevitably change it. Imagine a highly skilled, but incredibly biased, storyteller. Each time they recount a tale, they subtly embellish, omit, or rearrange details, not out of malice, but because of their current mood, new information they've acquired, or simply the desire to make the story more coherent or dramatic. Your brain is that storyteller. When you remember an event, your brain doesn't pull up a perfect snapshot. Instead, it reconstructs the event by piecing together fragments of information, sensory details, emotions, prior knowledge, and even what you've learned since the event occurred. This process is highly susceptible to suggestion, emotion, and subsequent experiences. Scientific evidence for this phenomenon is abundant and often startling. Studies by cognitive psychologists like Elizabeth Loftus have repeatedly shown how easily false memories can be implanted, or how existing memories can be subtly altered through leading questions or post-event information. Eyewitness testimonies, once considered sacrosanct, are now known to be notoriously unreliable, as memory recall can be influenced by stress, the passage of time, and even the way questions are phrased. Even your most vivid and emotionally charged memories, the ones you feel most certain about, are not immune. They are constantly being re-edited, subtly woven with new threads, sometimes even incorporating events that never happened. The profound implications of this ripple through your sense of identity and personal truth. If your past is not fixed, but a mutable narrative, then who are you, truly? Is the you of yesterday still the same you today, when the memories that define that past self are constantly shifting? Does it diminish the power of experience if the lessons learned are from a potentially warped version of events? It challenges the very concept of a single, objective, personal history, suggesting instead a fluid, constantly evolving story. Your sense of self, then, is not a solid monument built on an unshakable foundation, but a shimmering, ever-changing hologram. Yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar liberation. If your memories are dynamic, it means you have a surprising degree of agency, not over the past itself, but over its interpretation. You can, in a sense, reframe your past experiences, not by denying them, but by choosing which threads to emphasize, which narratives to construct, and how to integrate new understanding. It allows for growth, for forgiveness, and for escaping the rigid confines of past traumas. Your ability to adapt and evolve is precisely because your memory isn't a static record, but a living, breathing process. So, the next time you delve into the archives of your mind, reliving a cherished moment, or pondering a past regret, pause. Consider that the scene unfolding in your mind's eye is not a perfect replay, but a masterpiece, woven anew each time by the astonishing, and sometimes deceptive, storyteller that is your brain. How does this understanding alter your relationship with your past, with your identity, and with the very stories you tell yourself about who you are? You reach out and grasp a warm mug of tea. You see its inviting steam, feel its comforting heat, smell its fragrant aroma. The world around you seems to exist independently, a kaleidoscope of sensory input, faithfully reported to your conscious mind. You trust your eyes to show you colors as they are, your ears to hear sounds as they happen, your skin to feel textures exactly as they exist. We assume our senses are direct windows to an objective reality, providing us with an accurate, unfiltered stream of information about the external world. This fundamental trust in our sensory experience forms the bedrock of how we navigate and understand existence. But what if these windows are not transparent panes, but rather elaborate stained glass filters meticulously crafted by your brain? What if the vibrant tapestry of your perceived reality isn't a direct feed from the world, but a sophisticated, continuously updated simulation generated internally? This is the unsettling concept that your brain doesn't passively receive reality, it actively constructs it. The unsettling truth is that you don't perceive the world as it is, but as your brain interprets and presents it to you, a controlled delusion tailored for your survival. Imagine you are wearing a virtual reality headset, one so advanced that every sensation, every sight and sound feels absolutely real. You move your hand, and you see a virtual hand move. You walk forward, and the virtual world responds flawlessly. Now, consider that your brain is essentially operating a far more sophisticated biological VR headset, constantly generating your perceived reality based on incredibly sparse and often ambiguous sensory data. Your eyes don't send a perfect picture to your brain. They send electrical impulses that represent light patterns. Your ears send vibrations. Your skin sends pressure signals. It's your brain that then invents the image, the sound, the feeling of reality from these raw, incomplete inputs. Scientific evidence for this is compelling. Take optical illusions, which don't just trick your eyes. They expose the brain's interpretive processes. The famous checker-shadow illusion, where two squares that are objectively the same shade of grey appear different, demonstrates how your brain applies contextual assumptions like the presence of a shadow to interpret color. Or consider blind sight, a condition where people with damage to their visual cortex report being blind but can still accurately guess the location or orientation of objects, suggesting their brains are processing visual information unconsciously, even though they have no conscious perception of it. Your brain fills in gaps, predicts outcomes, and smooths over inconsistencies, all in an effort to present you with a coherent, usable version of the world. It's a master storyteller editing the raw footage into a seamless movie. The profound implications of this ripple through your sense of objectivity and shared reality. If your individual perception is a unique, internally generated construct, then how much common ground do you truly share with others? Is the red you see the same red another person sees? Does your interpretation of a social situation, filtered through your past experiences and biases, genuinely align with someone else's? It suggests that conflict, misunderstanding, and subjective truths are not just social phenomena, but are woven into the very fabric of our individual ways of experiencing the world. Your reality is not just personal, it is privately rendered. Yet, this unsettling truth also holds a strange kind of empowerment. If your brain is the silent architect, constantly building your reality, then you possess an incredible, though often unconscious, power. Understanding this mechanism can lead to a greater awareness of your own biases, your own filters, and how they shape what you believe to be true. It encourages empathy, recognizing that others' realities are equally valid and complex constructs. You are not a passive recipient of sensory data, but an active participant in the creation of your own experience, capable of influencing the very narrative your brain constructs. So, the next time you interact with the world, feeling its textures, hearing its sounds, seeing its colors, pause. Consider that what you're experiencing is not a direct transmission, but a brilliant, moment-by-moment creation by the silent architect within your skull. How does this awareness change your relationship with your senses, with your beliefs, and with the undeniable, yet always interpreted, reality you inhabit? You hold out your hand, feeling its undeniable solidity. You bump into a wall, and its unyielding resistance reminds you of its substantial mass. Everything around you, from the chair you sit on to the air you breathe, feels utterly material, occupying a definite space. We perceive the world as fundamentally solid, composed of tangible matter that fills the universe. This perception, learned through a lifetime of physical interaction, forms the basis of our understanding of weight, density, and the very concept of thingness. But what if this apparent solidity is a grand illusion, a magnificent trick of perception? What if the objects you touch, the ground beneath your feet, and even your own seemingly dense body are overwhelmingly composed of nothing at all? This is the astonishing and unsettling truth revealed by quantum physics. The vast majority of what you perceive as solid matter is, in fact, empty space. The unsettling truth is that your hand can pass through a wall, and a wall can pass through you. If only the underlying reality of atomic structure were made manifest. Imagine a single atom, the fundamental building block of all matter. We often picture it as a tiny, dense sphere, but that image is profoundly misleading. If you were to scale an atom up to the size of a football stadium, the nucleus, containing nearly all of its mass, would be no larger than a tiny pea or a marble, sitting right in the center. The electrons, which determine the atom's volume and its chemical properties, would be like microscopic dust motes, whizzing around this central pea at incredible speeds, thousands of yards away, within the stadium's vast empty space. This means that the solid matter of an atom is actually more than 99.9999999% empty space. The apparent solidity you experience is due to the incredibly powerful electromagnetic forces between the negatively charged electrons of your hand and the negatively charged electrons of the wall. These forces repel each other so strongly that they create the illusion of physical contact, preventing the atoms from truly It's like trying to push two powerful magnets together with their like poles facing. They'll resist with immense force, even though there's nothing physically blocking them in the traditional sense. You're not touching matter, you're feeling a force field. The profound implications of this concept are truly mind-bending. If everything is mostly empty space, then the very definitions of solid and empty begin to blur. It means that the chair you are sitting on isn't truly holding you up through sheer material density, but through an intricate dance of electromagnetic repulsion. Your body, a miracle of biological complexity, is an ephemeral cloud of rapidly moving, widely spaced, subatomic particles held together by invisible forces. Does this diminish the significance of your physical form? Or does it elevate it to something even more miraculous, an intricate, highly organized pattern of energy in a vast emptiness? This unsettling truth reframes your relationship with the physical world. It encourages you to look beyond the surface, to understand that the reality your senses present is a useful simplification, not the ultimate truth. It transforms every object, every seemingly solid thing, into a shimmering, vibrating field of forces and possibilities. You are not a static collection of inert particles. You are a dynamic, living void, teeming with invisible energies. So, the next time you feel the weight of an object, or the resistance of the ground beneath your feet, pause. Consider that the solidity you perceive is a complex symphony of forces playing out in an astonishingly empty theater. How does this understanding that the tangible world is mostly made of nothing alter your perception of matter, of yourself, and of the invisible forces that truly govern your reality. You gaze out at the vastness of the cosmos, feeling a familiar sense of awe, and perhaps a touch of loneliness. The universe, stretching for billions of light years, filled with countless galaxies and the mysteries they hold, feels like the totality of all that exists. We naturally assume that this universe, the one we inhabit and observe, is the only universe there is. Its immense scale already strains our imagination, making the idea of anything beyond it seem superfluous, even impossible. But what if this cosmos, so grand and overwhelming, is merely a single bubble in an unfathomably larger ocean? What if your universe isn't the entirety of existence, but just one of an infinite number of universes, each with its own laws of physics, its own dimensions, its own unfolding realities? This is the core of the multiverse theory, a concept emerging from various branches of modern physics that suggests your reality is but one facet of an incomprehensibly vast collection of realities. The unsettling truth: everything you know, everything you are, might be endlessly duplicated or endlessly varied across an infinite mirror. Imagine an endless cosmic foam bubbling with countless universes, each one a unique bubble. This isn't just speculative fiction. Several scientific theories lead to the concept of a multiverse. One prominent idea stems from cosmic inflation, the theory that explains the rapid expansion of the early universe. If inflation never truly stops everywhere, but continues in patches, then new bubble universes could constantly be budding off from each other, each with potentially different physical constants and dimensions. Another pathway to the multiverse comes from quantum mechanics, specifically the many worlds interpretation you encountered earlier. If every quantum possibility actually occurs, splitting the universe into different branches with each choice or measurement, then an infinite number of parallel universes are constantly being created, each representing a different outcome. Even string theory, attempting to unify all forces, suggests that our 3D space might be just one way of compactifying higher dimensions, leaving open the possibility of other universes where these dimensions are curled up differently, leading to wildly different physical laws. The profound implications of the multiverse are truly staggering. If countless versions of you exist in parallel universes, living out every conceivable choice and outcome, what does that say about your individuality or the uniqueness of your life? Does it diminish your personal struggles and triumphs if a version of you has already failed or succeeded in every possible way? Does it offer comfort, knowing that in some reality, every missed opportunity was seized, every regret rectified? It challenges the very concept of chance or luck, implying that every possibility, no matter how remote, is playing out somewhere yet. This unsettling truth also opens up a vista of extraordinary potential. If there are other universes, there might be other forms of life, other civilizations, perhaps even other physical laws that allow for wonders beyond our comprehension. It means the fine-tuning of our own universe, where physical constants seem perfectly calibrated for life to exist, might not be a cosmic fluke, but a statistical inevitability in a multiverse teeming with different configurations. You are not a singular, isolated being in a lonely cosmos, but a unique expression within an infinite tapestry of existence. Your story, while deeply personal, is also part of a grand, unimaginably diverse cosmic epic. So, the next time you feel small beneath the night sky, or contemplate the boundaries of your own reality, pause. Consider that beyond the edge of your observable universe lies an infinite expanse, a boundless ocean of other universes, each a distinct echo, or perhaps a wild variation of your own. How does this understanding that your universe might be just one of many alter your perception of possibility, of your own significance, and of the unimaginable vastness of existence itself? You breathe, you walk, you read these words. Your existence feels utterly undeniable, a singular, concrete fact. The universe, vast and indifferent, seems to have precisely the right conditions for you to be here, now. We implicitly assume that our being is a given, a self-evident truth, and that the conditions that allowed for life, particularly intelligent life, are simply part of the cosmic backdrop, unremarkable in their presence. But what if your existence, and the existence of everything around you, is an astonishingly improbable fluke, a winning ticket in a lottery with odds so astronomically long they defy comprehension? What if the finely tuned parameters of our universe, the very laws and constants that permit stars to form, elements to fuse, and complex life to emerge, are not inevitable but instead represent an almost miraculous coincidence? This is the unsettling core of the fine-tuning problem in cosmology. The idea that the universe's fundamental properties appear to be exquisitely calibrated for life, and even a minuscule deviation would render existence impossible. The unsettling truth is that you are here against almost impossible odds, making your every breath a miracle. Imagine a giant cosmic control panel with countless dials, each representing a fundamental constant of the universe: the strength of gravity, the electromagnetic force, the mass of an electron, the initial expansion rate after the Big Bang, the precise density fluctuations in the early cosmos. Now, imagine if you were to randomly spin each of these dials. The chances of them landing on the exact values necessary for stars to form, for carbon and oxygen to exist, for galaxies to coalesce rather than disperse into thin dust, or for complex chemistry to arise, are so incredibly small they verge on zero. For instance, if the strength of the strong nuclear force which binds protons and neutrons in atomic nuclei were just slightly weaker, stable atoms heavier than hydrogen couldn't form, and there would be no complex chemistry. If it was slightly stronger, hydrogen would burn too quickly, preventing the formation of stars that last long enough to support life. If the initial expansion rate of the universe were off by even 1 part in 1060 A1, followed by 60 zeros, the universe would either have collapsed back on itself immediately or expanded too rapidly for any structures to form. These aren't just minor adjustments. They are settings so precise that physicists often compare it to hitting a bullseye on a target. The size of the observable universe, the profound implications of this concept are both humbling and awe-inspiring. If our universe is so incredibly fine-tuned, does it suggest a designer, a cosmic orchestrator who set the dials just so? Or does it, as suggested by the multiverse theory we explored earlier, imply that we simply won the ultimate cosmic lottery, and countless other universes exist where the dials landed on barren, lifeless configurations? If your existence relies on such an improbable alignment of forces, does that diminish your sense of agency or elevate the sheer wonder of being alive? It challenges the notion that life is a natural, inevitable outcome of physics, instead presenting it as a rare and precious phenomenon perched precariously on the edge of cosmic possibility. Yet, this unsettling truth is also profoundly empowering. Recognizing the near impossible odds of your existence doesn't make it less real. It makes it infinitely more valuable. It compels you to marvel at the intricate balance that allows for every sunrise, every heartbeat, every thought. It transforms the mundane into the miraculous. You are not just a collection of atoms. You are a living, breathing testament to the universe's astonishing potential. A highly improbable, yet undeniable, expression of cosmic serendipity. So, the next time you feel the sun on your face, or consider the complex tapestry of life around you, pause. Reflect on the persistent probability, the sheer improbability of your own existence. How does this understanding that you are a cosmic lottery winner alter your appreciation for life, your sense of purpose, and your connection to the universe that, against all odds, allowed you to be? You formulate a thought, a plan for your day, a memory, a sudden burst of creativity. It feels intensely personal, an ephemeral flicker within the confines of your skull. Utterly separate from the tangible world outside, we often perceive our thoughts as abstract, intangible entities, distinct from physical reality, having no direct impact on the external world other than through our deliberate actions. The world exists, and then we, as separate observers, think about it. But what if this clear distinction, this perceived boundary between your internal mental landscape and the external physical universe, is far blurrier than you imagine? What if your thoughts, those seemingly weightless and private flickers, are not just confined to your brain but somehow interact with, and even subtly influence, the very fabric of reality at its deepest levels? This is the perplexing and unsettling realm of observer effect, and the concept that consciousness might play a fundamental role in shaping physical reality. The unsettling truth is that your mind might be more than just a passive receptor. It might be an active participant in weaving the tapestry of existence. Imagine, for a moment, a tiny, subatomic particle, like an electron, according to quantum mechanics. Before it's observed, this electron doesn't exist in a single, definite location. Instead, it exists as a wave of probability, a smear of potential locations simultaneously. It's only when an observer, a measuring device, another particle interacting with it, looks at it, or interacts with it, that the wave collapses and the electron decides on a single, definite position. This phenomenon, known as wave-particle duality and quantum collapse, is one of the most baffling aspects of quantum physics. It's as if reality itself is fluid and undefined until a conscious act of observation brings it into concrete existence. This isn't just about measurement. It raises profound questions about consciousness itself. Is it merely the act of measurement that collapses the wave function, or is there something special about conscious observation? Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness is inextricably linked to this process, that the act of knowing or perceiving plays a direct role in solidifying potential into reality. It's not that your thoughts create a mountain, but that your attention, your focus, might be influencing the fundamental probabilities at the quantum level, influencing the universe as it emerges from potentiality. It's like a cosmic photographer, and your mind is the lens that brings the fuzzy background into sharp focus. The profound implications of this concept are truly staggering. If your internal mental state can influence external reality, even at a microscopic level, then what does that say about the power of belief, intention, or even collective consciousness? Does it offer a scientific basis for phenomena often dismissed as pseudoscience, like the power of positive thinking or the interconnectedness of minds? It challenges the purely materialistic view of the universe, suggesting that consciousness isn't just an emergent property of matter, but perhaps a fundamental ingredient, a co-creator in the ongoing unfolding of reality. Your private thoughts might not be so private after all. but rather ripples on a shared quantum pond. Yet, this unsettling truth is also deeply empowering. If your consciousness holds such profound sway, it elevates your role in the universe from a mere spectator to an active participant. It means that the way you perceive the world, the focus you place on things, and even the intentions you cultivate, might have a subtle but real impact on the very fabric of existence. It compels you to be more mindful of your inner landscape, recognizing that your mental environment isn't just influencing your mood, but potentially the very state of the universe around you. So, the next time you lose yourself in thought, or simply observe a mundane object, pause. Consider that your consciousness, your very act of perception, might be performing a silent, continuous act of creation, solidifying possibilities into reality. How does this understanding that your thoughts might subtly shape the world alter your sense of responsibility, your capacity for intention, and your place within the grand, unfolding quantum drama? You live your life moving forward, from yesterday into today, and from today into tomorrow. Memories recede behind you, plans and expectations stretch out ahead. The arrow of time, as we perceive it, flies in one direction, from past to future. We experience cause preceding effect, birth before death. A clear, linear progression that defines our understanding of existence. This intuitive sense of time's unwavering direction, its irresistible march forward, is deeply woven into our daily lives and scientific models. But what if this forward march is merely a local phenomenon, a trick of cosmic scale, and not a fundamental property of the universe itself? What if, at the deepest levels of reality, the distinction between past and future blurs, or even ceases to exist, making your future, in some profound way, already your past? This is the mind-bending concept of retrocausality and the peculiar symmetry of time in fundamental physics. The unsettling truth is that effects might, under certain conditions, precede their causes. Unraveling your understanding of temporal order, imagine a billiard ball rolling across a table. You hit it, cause, and it moves, effect. Simple, but now, envision a scenario where observing the ball at its destination influences where it started. This seems absurd in our everyday world, but at the quantum level, things become far stranger. Experiments in quantum physics, particularly those involving entanglement and delayed choice, hint at a universe where information might flow backward in time, or where the measurement of a particle in the present can retroactively influence its properties in the past. Take the famous Wheeler's delayed choice experiment. Imagine a single photon capable of acting as both a wave and a particle. You send it through an apparatus that offers two paths. You can choose after the photon has already passed a certain point whether to observe it as a wave or as a particle. The unsettling result: the photon seems to know your future choice and behaves accordingly, as if its past state was determined by a future observation. It's like flipping a coin, only for the coin to land on heads because you decide to call heads after it's already landed. This isn't just about observer effect. It's about the apparent influence of future choices on past events. The profound implications of this concept can feel like a direct assault on free will and logical consistency. If your future actions can influence your past, then what does choice even mean? Does it imply a predetermined loop where your choice today is merely fulfilling a condition that was set by your future self? It challenges the very concept of historical causality, suggesting that the universe isn't just playing out forward, but is engaged in a complex, self-referential dance where all moments are intricately linked. Your life story, then, isn't a linear narrative, but a continuous loop, where the ending might subtly inform the beginning. Yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar liberation. If time isn't a rigid, one-way street, it implies a deeper interconnectedness that transcends our linear perception. It suggests that seemingly disparate moments are more deeply entwined than we can grasp, perhaps hinting at a holographic universe where every part contains information about the whole. It transforms your journey through time from a relentless, irreversible march to an intricate, potentially self-correcting dance. Your current experience, while seemingly forward-moving, is part of a larger, timeless tapestry where beginnings and endings may be far more fluid than you ever imagined. So, the next time you reflect on a past memory or anticipate a future event, pause. Consider that the boundaries between these temporal states might be far more permeable than you perceive. How does this understanding that your future might be subtly shaping your past alter your relationship with regret, with anticipation, and with the very concept of time itself? You stand at a crossroads, faced with a seemingly simple decision. Left or right, coffee or tea, speak or remain silent. You weigh the options, consider the consequences, and finally, you make your choice. The path you didn't take instantly dissolves into the realm of what if, a mere unfulfilled possibility. We experience reality as a single, unfolding narrative, a sequence of definitive events where each choice closes off all other alternatives, leaving only one tangible outcome. This conviction in a singular, concrete reality, where every decision leads to a specific, unique future, underpins our sense of agency and the finality of our actions. But what if this singular reality is itself an illusion, a localized experience within a much grander, endlessly branching multiverse? What if every single decision you make, every indeterminate quantum event, doesn't just lead to one outcome, but causes the universe to split, creating parallel realities where every conceivable possibility is actualized? This is the core tenet of the many worlds interpretation (MWI) of quantum mechanics, a bold and bewildering theory that suggests that the universe is constantly spawning new branches with every quantum measurement or interaction. The unsettling truth is that every choice you don't make is still being made by another version of you in an equally real, equally vibrant, parallel universe. Imagine a quantum coin flip. In our everyday experience, it lands either heads or tails. But in the MWI, when that coin is flipped, the universe doesn't just settle on one outcome. Instead, it branches. In one universe, the coin lands heads, and in another, equally real universe, it lands tails. You, the observer, also split. One, you experiences the heads outcome, while another, you experiences the tails outcome. These separate universes then continue to evolve independently, each carrying on with its own set of events and consequences. There is no collapse of the wave function to a single reality. Instead, all possibilities become real. The scientific basis for MWI lies in its elegant solution to the measurement problem in quantum mechanics. Rather than having a mysterious collapse that changes quantum probabilities into definite realities, MWI posits that the wave function never collapses. Instead, all possible outcomes simply become real in different branches. While it sounds like science fiction, MWI is a serious interpretation embraced by a significant number of physicists because it avoids some of the more paradoxical aspects of other quantum interpretations. Every electron, every photon, every interaction at the subatomic level causes the universe to branch, leading to an unimaginably vast, constantly multiplying array of parallel realities. The profound implications of this ripple through your sense of responsibility, regret, and the very meaning of your life. If every choice you don't make is still made by a version of you, does it diminish the weight of your decisions? Does it offer a strange comfort, knowing that in some reality, you succeeded where you failed, or found happiness where you encountered sorrow? Conversely, does it present a terrifying thought that every mistake, every tragic outcome, is also playing out somewhere forever? It challenges the uniqueness of your life story, suggesting an infinite ensemble of use living out every possible permutation of existence. Yet, this unsettling truth can also be profoundly liberating. If every possibility exists, then the pressure of the perfect choice lessens. It allows for a deeper appreciation of the path you are on, knowing it's just one of countless equally valid journeys. It fosters a sense of wonder at the sheer fecundity of the universe, demonstrating that reality is far richer and more complex than a single, linear narrative. You are not confined to one fate. You are an infinite symphony, playing out every possible note across an unimaginably vast cosmic orchestra. So, the next time you face a choice, big or small, and feel the weight of its potential outcome, pause. Consider that every path you don't take, every decision you forego, might be simultaneously unfolding for another version of you. In an equally vivid and tangible reality, how does this understanding that your reality is just one branch among an infinite quantum forest alter your relationship with possibility, with regret, and with the boundless potential of your own multifaceted existence? You ponder a complex problem, feel a surge of emotion, or simply become aware of the warmth of the sun on your face. These experiences are undeniably yours, the private cinema of your consciousness. You feel a profound sense of self, a singular I inhabiting your body, a being capable of introspection, decision, and subjective experience. We intuitively believe that consciousness is an inherent, fundamental aspect of our being, perhaps even a non-physical essence that somehow animates our physical form. But what if this profound sense of self, this vivid inner world, isn't a fundamental entity but an accidental byproduct? What if consciousness is nothing more than a complex pattern, an intricate dance of billions of neurons and their connections, an emergent property that arises from the sheer complexity of the brain, much like wetness emerges from the interaction of water molecules? This is the unsettling core of emergentism in the philosophy of mind. The idea that your subjective experience, your soul if you will, is simply what it feels like to be a sufficiently complex biological machine. The unsettling truth is that your inner world, your very sense of you, might be nothing more than a sophisticated illusion, a ghost in the machine generated by brute computation. Imagine a highly intricate, self-organizing ant colony. No single ant is intelligent in the human sense, but the collective behavior of millions of ants, following simple rules, results in complex structures, foraging patterns, and sophisticated defense mechanisms. From a distance, the colony appears to possess a kind of collective intelligence, even though no central ant brain is directing it. Now, apply this analogy to your brain, but on an exponentially grander scale. Your neurons, individual cells, firing electrochemical signals, are like the ants. No single neuron is conscious, but the billions of them, interacting in incredibly complex ways, create the phenomenon we call consciousness. The scientific support for this concept is deeply rooted in neuroscience. As we map the brain, study brain injuries, and observe the effects of drugs, we see direct correlations between physical changes in the brain and changes in consciousness, personality, and perception. Damage to a specific area can erase memories, alter emotions, or even dismantle the sense of self. Artificial intelligence researchers, in their quest to build conscious machines, often operate on the assumption that if they can replicate the complexity and connectivity of the brain, consciousness will inevitably emerge. It suggests that consciousness isn't poured into the brain, it arises from it, much like a beautiful symphony emerges from the interaction of instruments in an orchestra. The profound implications of this concept can be deeply disquieting. If your consciousness is just an emergent property, does it diminish your spiritual aspirations, your belief in an afterlife, or the unique spark you feel within? Does it reduce love, joy, and sorrow to mere chemical reactions, making your profoundest experiences seem less meaningful? It challenges the notion of human exceptionalism, suggesting that consciousness is not unique to biological life and could, in principle, arise in sufficiently complex artificial systems. Your identity, then, is not a fixed essence, but a dynamic, incredibly intricate pattern of information, constantly being calculated and updated. Yet, this unsettling truth also holds a powerful liberation. If consciousness is emergent, it doesn't make it less real or less valuable. It makes it a monumental achievement of evolution and complexity. It transforms your brain from a simple vessel into an astonishing, self-organizing universe of activity. It encourages a profound appreciation for the intricate biological processes that give rise to your subjective world. Moreover, it opens the door to understanding consciousness not as an unfathomable mystery, but as a phenomenon that can potentially be studied, understood, and perhaps even replicated or enhanced. You are not a ghost trapped in a machine. You are the living, breathing, emergent phenomenon of the machine itself. So, the next time you experience a vivid dream, feel a pang of empathy, or simply contemplate your own existence, pause. Consider that this entire inner world, this undeniable sense of you, is the magnificent, spontaneous outcome of billions of tiny, unconscious interactions within your brain. How does this understanding that your consciousness is an emergent anomaly alter your relationship with your own mind, with your identity, and with the astonishing complexity that gives rise to your very being? You look back at yesterday, last year, or even decades ago, and those moments feel irrevocably gone. The events have passed, the words have been spoken, the opportunities either seized or lost. We perceive the past as a realm of what was, a fixed, an unchangeable history that recedes further and further behind us as time marches forward. We carry the memory of it, but the past itself feels as substantial and unreachable as a fading dream. This linear progression, where the past is definitively over, is a cornerstone of our understanding of time and causality. But what if this perception of a vanishing past is a mere trick of your limited perception? What if every single moment that has ever occurred, every second of your personal history and the universe's history, hasn't truly gone anywhere, but continues to exist, laid out in the fabric of space-time? This is the profound and unsettling implication of the block universe theory, which suggests that all moments past, present, and future are equally real and equally existent within a timeless, four-dimensional block. The unsettling truth is that your past isn't gone, it's simply elsewhere in the cosmic block, and you are merely moving through it. Imagine a giant, infinitely long loaf of bread. Each slice of bread represents a moment in time, a now. You, as a conscious observer, are like a knife moving through that loaf, experiencing one slice at a time. From your perspective, the slices you've already cut are past, and the slices ahead are future. But for someone observing the entire loaf from outside, all the slices, all the moments, exist simultaneously. The loaf itself doesn't change or flow, it simply is. In this analogy, the entire history of the universe, from the Big Bang to its ultimate end, is already baked into the loaf of space-time. The scientific grounding for the block universe theory comes directly from Einstein's theory of relativity, particularly the concept of space-time. Einstein showed that space and time are not separate entities, but are interwoven into a single, unified continuum. Changes in motion affect both space and time, as seen in time dilation, time slowing down for moving objects, and length contraction, if space and time are so intimately linked. And if space clearly has a past and future, you can visit places that were in your past or will be in your future. Then why should time be any different? All events, past, present, and future, are simply coordinates within this four-dimensional manifold. There is no special moving now that defines reality. The profound implications of this concept are truly revolutionary for your understanding of causality, regret, and the very nature of existence. If your past is not truly gone, but eternally existent, does that mean your actions, your mistakes, your triumphs are forever etched into the cosmic fabric? Does it diminish the power of regret or the hope for change if everything is already fixed in a timeless block? It challenges the very notion of a progressive, unfolding history, replacing it with a static, yet infinitely rich, tapestry of events. Your life story, then, is not being written as you live it, but rather, it is written, and you are simply experiencing the reading of it. Slice by exquisite slice, yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar sense of peace and interconnectedness. If all moments exist, then perhaps there's a deeper meaning to the saying that time heals all wounds. Not because events vanish, but because your perspective within the block shifts. It can foster a profound acceptance of what has been, recognizing its eternal, unchanging reality. It transforms your journey through life from a desperate race against the clock to a rich, ongoing exploration of a timeless masterpiece. Your existence, in this view, is not fleeting, but is an eternal coordinate within the cosmic geometry. So, the next time you recall a distant memory or lament a lost opportunity, pause. Consider that the past isn't merely a ghost. It is a persistent reality, eternally present within the grand, four-dimensional block of the universe. How does this understanding that your past still exists alter your relationship with memory, with forgiveness, and with the boundless, timeless expanse of your own being? You sit alone, lost in thought, a torrent of ideas, worries, and dreams flowing through your mind. You construct arguments, rehearse conversations, or simply drift through abstract concepts. This inner monologue, this private theater of your consciousness, feels utterly secluded, a fortress of personal cognition inaccessible to anyone else. We believe our thoughts are our own, secret and sacred, shielded within the confines of our skulls, only becoming public when we choose to articulate them. This fundamental belief in the privacy of our minds underpins our sense of autonomy, individuality, and personal safety. But what if this fortress is not as impenetrable as you assume? What if your thoughts, those seemingly isolated neural firings, are not entirely confined to your brain, but resonate outwards? subtly interacting with a shared field of consciousness or information, making them, in some elusive way, less private than you could ever imagine. This is the perplexing and unsettling realm of collective consciousness, morphic fields, or even certain interpretations of quantum entanglement applied to mind. The unsettling truth is that your most intimate thoughts might be echoes in a vast, interconnected mental landscape, influencing and being influenced by others in ways you can't perceive. Imagine a vast, invisible web stretching across all of existence, connecting not just physical objects, but minds. This isn't about telepathy in the sci-fi sense, but a more subtle, probabilistic influence. Consider the concept of morphic resonance, proposed by biologist Rupert Sheldrake. He suggests that self-organizing systems, from molecules to organisms to human societies, are influenced by morphic fields that contain a kind of collective memory. So, if many people learn a new skill, it becomes subtly easier for others to learn it, even across vast distances, as if the concept itself is resonating through a shared field. While highly controversial in mainstream science, this idea provides a metaphor for how thought might escape the individual on a deeper quantum level. If consciousness is indeed involved in quantum collapse, as explored in the weightless web, then perhaps the information of your thoughts, when they solidify possibilities, isn't contained. What if the very act of observing, of focusing intention, creates ripples in a universal quantum field that extends beyond your individual brain? This isn't about direct mind reading, but about a pervasive, subtle influence, like dropping a stone into a vast, still pond. The ripples are there, even if you can't easily discern their origin. Your unique pattern of thought might be adding to a collective, influencing the probability landscape for others. The profound implications of this concept are truly staggering. If your thoughts are not entirely private, does it mean that empathy and intuition are not just psychological phenomena, but subtle forms of information transfer? Does it imply a responsibility for your mental landscape, knowing that your anxieties or your hopes might subtly contribute to a larger, shared reality? It challenges the atomized view of individual minds, suggesting a deeper, unconscious interconnectedness that blurs the lines between me and us. Your mental processes, then, are not isolated events, but part of a grand, continuously evolving cosmic conversation. Yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar sense of profound connection. If your mind is part of a larger web, you are never truly alone. It offers a scientific underpinning for the feeling of collective human experience, the resonance of shared joy or sorrow, or the inexplicable sense of understanding another without words. It transforms the solitary act of thinking into a participation in a vast, unseen mental ecosystem. You are not just generating thoughts, you are contributing to, and drawing from, a universal wellspring of consciousness. So, the next time you find yourself deep in contemplation, or simply allowing your mind to wander, pause, consider that your thoughts, your intentions, your very conscious awareness might be sending out subtle, invisible ripples into a vast, interconnected mental field. How does this understanding that your thoughts are not entirely private alter your sense of individuality, your connection to humanity, and your responsibility for the inner world you cultivate? You make plans for tomorrow, anticipate a future event, or simply observe the passage of moments from morning to night. You feel yourself moving through time, leaving the present behind and advancing into what is yet to come. The future feels open, uncertain, a canvas awaiting the brushstrokes of your choices and unfolding events. We perceive the future as a realm of pure potentiality, unwritten and yet to manifest. This intuitive sense of an open, developing future is central to our concepts of hope, planning, and free will. But what if this open canvas is merely a perception, and the entire future, every single moment of it, is already in place, as fixed and immutable as the past? What if the flow of time you experience is merely your consciousness traversing an already existing landscape, rather than actively creating it? This is the most challenging and deeply unsettling implication of the block universe theory revisited from a new angle, that your future is not waiting to be created. It is already an established part of the four-dimensional reality, existing just as concretely as your past. The unsettling truth is that every joy, every sorrow, every decision you will ever make is already there, laid out in the timeless fabric of space-time. Imagine a film reel, completely developed and ready to be played. Every frame, from the beginning of the movie to its very end, exists simultaneously on that reel. When you watch the movie, you experience the frames sequentially, giving you the sensation of a story unfolding. But the entire story, every character's action, every plot twist, is already physically present on the reel. In the block universe, your life, and indeed the entire history of the cosmos, is that film reel. Every moment, every past, present, and future event is a distinct frame, and your consciousness is simply experiencing those frames in a particular order. The scientific foundation for this lies squarely within Einstein's general relativity. For observers in different frames of reference, simultaneity is relative. What is now for you is simultaneously past for one observer and future for another. This intermingling of nows across different perspectives strongly suggests that past, present, and future are not fundamentally distinct categories, but merely different regions within the unified manifold of space-time. There is no cosmic present moment that universally moves. Instead, all moments simply are. Your feeling of future is just the set of space-time coordinates you haven't yet experienced. The profound implications of this concept are staggering for your sense of free will and the meaning of effort. If your future is already determined and fixed, does effort matter? Does planning have any real purpose beyond fulfilling an already set sequence of events? Does regret over past actions or anxiety about future ones become meaningless if they are all simply preordained parts of an immutable block? It profoundly challenges the idea of genuine novelty or unpredictable creation, suggesting that all of existence is an unfolding of an already written cosmic play. Your entire journey, from cradle to grave, is less a spontaneous improvisation and more a fixed dance across the stage of space-time. Yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar kind of liberation and a deeper connection to the grand cosmic narrative. If the future already exists, then perhaps there's a profound beauty in experiencing its unfolding, a sense of participating in an eternal, perfected design. It can alleviate the burden of an endlessly uncertain future, replacing it with the calm acceptance of a fixed, yet infinitely rich, reality. It transforms your life from a chaotic, uncertain struggle into an exquisite, preordained performance. Your choices, while fixed in this block, are still your choices within that eternal framework, and the experience of making them, and their consequences, is your unique contribution to the cosmic tapestry. So, the next time you dream of tomorrow, or feel the eager anticipation of what's to come, pause. Consider that the future isn't merely approaching, It is already here, waiting for your consciousness to encounter it within the vast, timeless architecture of the universe. How does this understanding that your future is already present alter your relationship with hope, with destiny, and with the astonishing pre-existing reality of your entire life? You perceive the world through the vibrant hues of a sunset, the intricate patterns of a snowflake, the rhythmic pulse of your own heart. These phenomena feel organic, natural, born of physical processes and random chance. We experience reality as a grand, sprawling narrative of tangible events, driven by forces and interactions that we seek to describe with scientific laws. We intuitively understand mathematics as a tool to describe this reality, a language we use to quantify and understand the physical world, not as the fundamental essence of reality itself. But what if this distinction is fundamentally backwards? What if the universe isn't just described by mathematics, but is, at its most fundamental level, made of mathematics? What if the physical laws, the particles, the very fabric of space and time, are not merely conforming to mathematical rules, but are, in essence, mathematical structures themselves? This is the profound and unsettling concept of the mathematical universe hypothesis, MAR, proposed by physicist Max Tegmark, which suggests that our physical reality is a mathematical structure. The unsettling truth is that you are not living in a universe that obeys mathematical laws. You are living within a mathematical equation. Imagine a highly complex, self-consistent computer program. The program runs, generating intricate graphics, simulations, and interactive environments. From within the program, everything feels real, physical, and governed by specific rules. But from the perspective of the programmer, the entire reality of that program is simply lines of code, algorithms, and logical relationships, pure mathematics. The MAR posits that our universe is analogous to such a program, but one that is inherently mathematical, rather than being merely described by it. The particles, forces, and dimensions we perceive are simply patterns and relationships within this ultimate mathematical structure. The scientific and philosophical arguments for MAR are compelling. Physics has consistently found that the deeper we probe into the nature of reality, the more fundamentally mathematical it appears. From the elegance of Newton's laws to the symmetries of quantum mechanics and the geometry of general relativity, mathematics isn't just a convenient language, it is the bedrock. If the universe were truly arbitrary, why would it conform so perfectly to abstract mathematical principles? Tegmark argues that if an external, non-mathematical reality existed, it would be an undescribably messy concept. Instead, the universe is what it is because it is the simplest, most elegant mathematical structure that can contain self-aware substructures like us. Every fundamental constant, every law of physics, is an inherent property of this mathematical entity. The profound implications of this concept are truly mind-bending. If the universe is a mathematical structure, does that mean every possible self-consistent mathematical structure corresponds to a real, existing universe? This leads directly to a level 4 multiverse in Tegmark's classification, where all possible mathematical realities exist, each as real as our own. Does your own existence, your consciousness, become a complex mathematical pattern, a highly intricate computation within this cosmic equation? Does it diminish the magic of discovery if we are merely uncovering pre-existing mathematical truths, rather than exploring an independent physical realm? It challenges our anthropocentric view, suggesting that reality exists independently of any physical substrate, as long as its mathematical structure is self-consistent. Yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar kind of profound order and beauty. If the universe is mathematics, it means there is an inherent, logical consistency to everything, a deep, beautiful symmetry underlying all existence. It suggests that reality is not arbitrary or chaotic, but exquisitely rational. It transforms the pursuit of scientific understanding into a grand quest for discovering the fundamental equations of existence, making every scientific breakthrough a glimpse into the cosmic blueprint. You are not just a creature of flesh and blood. You are a living, breathing mathematical pattern, an elegant theorem unfolding in real time. So, the next time you marvel at the precision of a celestial orbit or the intricate branching of a tree, pause. Consider that these are not just physical phenomena obeying mathematical laws, but are perhaps mathematical forms themselves, rendered into perceived reality. How does this understanding that your reality is a mathematical symphony alter your perception of beauty, of order, and of the profound abstract logic that underlies every aspect of your existence? You feel the urgency of the moment, the swift passage of time from second to minute, from minute to hour. You're constantly moving from then to now to next, aware of the inexorable flow that carries you forward. We experience the present as a dynamic, moving point, an ever-advancing frontier where the past recedes and the future rushes in. This feeling of a fleeting, singular now that defines your immediate experience is fundamental to how you navigate your daily life and plan for what's ahead. But what if this dynamic, moving now, is a deeply ingrained illusion, a perceptual trick played by your brain to make sense of a more static reality? What if, contrary to your deepest intuition, the present moment isn't moving at all, but is, in a profound and unsettling way, an absolute, unchanging, constant, eternally fixed in the fabric of space-time? This is the core of certain interpretations of eternalism and a radical view of time derived from physics, that the now is not a fleeting point, but a fixed, unique slice of the universe that is universally and eternally present. The unsettling truth is that your experience of time's flow is a subjective construct, and the present moment you inhabit is permanently anchored. Imagine a single specific frame in the cosmic film reel we discussed earlier. In the block universe theory, all frames exist, but now, consider that for some profound as yet unknown reason, this particular frame, the one you are experiencing as now, is special. It is the perpetually active frame, the one that is lit up for consciousness. This isn't about time flowing. It's about your consciousness being perpetually situated within this specific, unchanging now. While other moments past and future exist, but are not consciously experienced. It's like being stuck in one particular second of a movie that is endlessly playing. Even though all other seconds exist simultaneously on the film, the scientific and philosophical arguments for an absolute present are far more contentious and less universally accepted than the block universe. But they arise from a deep dissatisfaction with the implications of relative simultaneity for personal experience. If every observer has their own now based on their speed and direction, it becomes difficult to reconcile with a shared, experienced reality. Some physicists and philosophers argue for a fundamental present to ground the very concept of existence. This could be linked to an underlying cosmic clock or a privileged frame of reference, perhaps even one dictated by the quantum vacuum itself. While general relativity strongly supports relative simultaneity, the intuitive struggle with a universe where now means vastly different things to different observers sometimes pushes for a deeper, more fundamental, and perhaps absolute, present. The profound implications of this concept are truly staggering for your sense of free will and the meaning of personal progression. If the now is fixed, does it mean that your actions within it are equally fixed, eternally playing out the same sequence of events? Does it imply a cyclical universe, or a singular, unchangeable reality that is simply being re-experienced? It challenges the very notion of personal growth and evolution if your present self is perpetually the same. Regardless of the perceived past or future, your journey through life, then, is not a movement through time, but perhaps a re-engagement with an eternally present reality, an endless re-experiencing of the same specific cosmic instant. Yet, this unsettling truth also offers a peculiar kind of profound stability and focus. If the now is absolute, it intensifies the significance of the present moment, making it the only truly active point of existence. It compels you to focus all your awareness and action on this perpetual present, as it is the only arena in which your consciousness truly resides. It transforms your life from a fleeting passage into an eternal engagement with the single, profound moment that is always and forever now. You are not just living in the present, you are living the present in its most fundamental and unchanging form. So, the next time you feel the passage of time, the shift from one moment to the next, pause. Consider that this relentless movement might be a powerful illusion, and that the now you inhabit is a fixed, eternal point in the grand tapestry of existence. How does this understanding that your present is an absolute constant alter your relationship with time, with action, and with the profound, unchanging reality of your immediate experience? You stand on solid ground beneath a vast, seemingly boundless sky. You move through defined spaces, confined by walls, boundaries, and horizons. Your body has a distinct shape, a finite lifespan, and a clear beginning and end. We perceive the universe as having limits: a beginning, perhaps an end, a finite speed for light, a maximum temperature, a smallest particle. We assume that all things, including ourselves and the cosmos, are fundamentally finite, bounded by inherent constraints. This belief in limits provides a framework for understanding, a sense of order, and a graspable reality. But what if these perceived limits, these fundamental boundaries you implicitly trust, are merely projections of your own conceptual framework, and that reality, at its deepest core, is inherently, unfathomably infinite? What if the universe isn't just vast, but truly boundless, and your own perceived finitude is merely a localized manifestation of an endless, unconstrained potential? This is the ultimate, most profound, and perhaps most liberating, unsettling truth. The universe, and perhaps your own being, might extend into realms of absolute, unqualified infinity, defying all attempts at ultimate containment. The unsettling truth is that every boundary you perceive, every end you imagine, is merely a veil over an inexhaustible continuum. Imagine the number line, stretching endlessly in both positive and negative directions, with infinite points between any two given points. Now, apply this concept not just to numbers, but to space, to time, to possibilities, to dimensions, and even to the very nature of consciousness. In some cosmological models, the universe might be spatially infinite, truly having no edge, stretching forever in every direction, containing an infinite number of galaxies, stars, and potentially an infinite number of exact copies of you. In the quantum realm, the infinite possibilities of the many worlds interpretation already suggest an infinite branching of realities. Even the very small might be infinitely divisible, with no true fundamental particle, just increasingly smaller scales. The scientific and philosophical arguments for various forms of infinity permeate modern thought, from the mathematical elegance that describes infinite sets to the implications of an infinitely expanding universe, or the fractal nature of complex systems that reveal endless detail upon closer inspection. Even the concept of a Planck length, the smallest theoretical unit of space, or Planck time, the smallest theoretical unit of time, doesn't necessarily mean reality stops there, but rather that our current physics breaks down. What lies beyond the Planck scale might be realms of infinite complexity and dimension. Our limits of measurement and observation might simply be that, our limits, not the universe's. The profound implications of this concept are truly liberating, yet also overwhelming. If the universe is truly infinite, then everything you can conceive and everything you cannot exists somewhere. Every possibility is actualized. Does this make your individual struggles insignificant, or does it make them part of an infinitely grander, perpetually unfolding epic? It challenges the very idea of ultimate answers or final destinations, suggesting that exploration and discovery are endless. It pushes against the human need for neat categories and definitive boundaries, inviting you to embrace the incomprehensible. Your existence, then, is not a brief flicker in a limited cosmos, but an eternal note in an infinite symphony, part of a boundless, ever-expanding tapestry. Yet, this unsettling truth is also the ultimate form of empowerment. If reality is infinite, then the potential for growth, for learning, for experiencing, is also infinite. It means there are no true ceilings to possibility, no ultimate end to what can be. It transforms every perceived limitation into an invitation for further exploration, every boundary into a mere stepping stone to a wider horizon. You are not a confined entity, but an integral part of an endless, unfolding mystery, brimming with inexhaustible potential. So, the next time you feel the constraints of your daily life, or ponder the vastness of the cosmos, pause. Consider that every limit you perceive, every boundary you encounter, might be nothing more than an illusion, a temporary marker in an infinitely boundless reality. How does this understanding that your limits are illusions alter your relationship with potential, with fear, and with the astonishing, endless nature of your own being within an infinite universe?